Individuals who were in his immediate vicinity referred to him as a revolutionary. To have the status of a lion, in the Sahel region, the most feared warrior in the kingdom. The other side of the coin is that even lions have histories that they choose to conceal from the general population. When Captain Ibrahim Traoré made a decision in a place that was alien to him, it would have repercussions that would be felt decades after the decision was ultimately completed. This choice was made a very long time ago, well before his name was known to the rest of the world, and much before the palace and the authority had established itself. The narrative that follows is about the daughter that he never had the chance to get to know more about, one that has been a mystery for a very long time and has been buried in France, an individual who never makes any sounds at all when they are born, a paternity that was not imposed upon him against his will, but rather was given to him. Ibrahim Traoré, who was still a young man at the time, had not yet acquired reputation as a soldier when the year 2011 arrived. By that time, he had already done so. He was a student who was both quiet and determined, and he was enrolled at the University of Ouagadougou, where he was working for a degree in physics. He was one of the students. However, during that particular year, he was chosen to participate in a one-of-a-kind academic exchange program that was held in France. This program was held in France. Burkinabe students who are exceptionally talented are provided with the chance to do study on scientific topics in other countries through their participation in this program. The city of Marseille, where he was staying, was where he came, having a strong drive to gather information and knowledge, interested in gaining an understanding of the systems that controlled the world and the individuals that controlled it. He, on the other hand, was caught aback by her actions and did not anticipate them having occurred. The name Camille was the one that she introduced herself as. It is possible to trace his genealogy back to both France and Algeria. There is yet another student who is studying journalism, amazingly beautiful in each and every respect, not being afraid of anything. A natural attraction to revolutionary intellectuals and visionaries due to the very nature of their being. Due to the fact that there was a gathering on campus, they were brought together. When that particular moment arrived, she was in the midst of filming. As a witness to the occurrence, he was present. As they were separated by a trash can that was on fire, they exchanged a gaze with one another throughout the situation. It was a really serious fall that occurred, as if speaking in a whisper, or, to put it another way, secretly. They were unable to be parted from one another for a period of time that lasted for around half a year, among the many different restaurants, from the constraints of the train surroundings. There were demonstrations that took place. He was the one who presented her with information about the life and work of Thomas Sankara. France Fanon was initially introduced to him by her. She is the one who initiated the relationship. Love, on the other hand, and change are two concepts that can never be adequately stated as uncomplicated. It was something that the Camille family did not approve of and did not support. The politics of Traoré were something that her father, who had served in the police force in the past, abhorred doing. He was a member of the police force. The following is an example of the words of caution that her mother gave to her. He'll go home, due to the fact that he is not the same as we are. Despite the passage of time, he persisted in doing it. It was not possible for him to renew his visa. His destiny would be revealed to him in Burkina Faso, the site where he would find it. With all their hearts, they begged him to remain in the room. Following the final kiss that the two of them exchanged, he disappeared into the oppressive heat of West Africa. The kiss was the last one they shared together. However, Camille did not find out that she was pregnant until 3 months after the initial report of her pregnancy had been made public. A note that she had written for him was delivered to him. At one point in time, it was the case. Not once, but twice in total. This is the third of 3 cases that have occurred. Nobody gave a response to the question. Once again, the phone began to ring. Not a single bit of it at all. She was unaware of the fact that his messages were being intercepted, and he would never acknowledge to having done so. She was blissfully unaware of the situation. It was impossible for him to admit to having done it. It has been alleged that the intelligence agencies of Burkina Faso have marked every international correspondence that contains certain names. There was a disclosure of this information. Even at that point in time, he was being monitored by surveillance cameras. Some of the letters had been ripped, edited, or completely lost by the time they were sent to him. Others had been completely lost. The others had completely lost their way. On the other hand, he was fully unaware of it. The child that Camille gave birth to was a female, and she was a girl born to her. Her choice to refer to her as Nadia was a conscious one, a word that is synonymous with the word hope. Nadia spent her youth in Lyon, which is where she was born. In addition to being a young lady who is reserved and sensitive to her surroundings, she possesses the fiery nature of her mother and the high cheekbones that her father inherited from her. This time around, Camille didn't give her much of a response at all. Further complicating matters was the fact that her father was of African descent. On occasion, he has shown bravery in a range of situations. To be sure, he had already departed the premises. She merely showed her a single snapshot, which was a damaged picture of a young man who was taking part in a demonstration while wearing a brown coat and raising his fists. She showed it to her. Regarding the matter, Nadia never posed any queries at any point in the years leading up to the moment when she turned 17 years old. When she was browsing through the headlines on her phone in the year 2023, she abruptly and unexpectedly became immobilized. She experienced this sudden and unexpected change. The television displayed a man who was dressed in a military uniform and was giving a speech that was quite eloquent. The chance to express his thoughts was extended to him. It appeared as though he was of a longer age. Are you even more adamant? It poses a greater threat. On the other hand, it was quite challenging to ignore the features of the eyes. There was a similarity between the sound with her own voice, which was quite striking. According to the caption, the individual in question was Captain Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso. This was specified within the caption of the image. The existence of her mother was brought to her attention by her sister. Without uttering a single word of denial, Camille remained silent. She stated in a hushed voice, "You are completely correct. Not at all. That is in fact him." In the world that Nadia lived in, everything was destroyed. It caught fire as a direct result of these circumstances. It was then that she began digging in the ground, each and every one of the articles that are currently being checked out. This involves watching each and every speech that is given. This refers to the process of translating something from French into Moorish and other languages, including other Arabic languages. In light of what he had said, she came to the realization that she was in agreement with what he had said. She was able to identify herself regardless of whether he was walking or not. When he was talking about the young people, he was able to keep his eyes from welling up with tears in order to maintain his composure. On the other hand, the misery of being abandoned remained with me for the entirety of my journey through life. This raises the question of why he never endeavored to look for her in the first place. Why was it that her presence was only known to exist in the shadows? This was a mystery. As soon as Ibrahim Traoré returned to Ouagadougou, he was confronted with yet another storm for the very first time. On numerous instances, attempts were attempted to carry out an assassination. Mercenary threats. Countries from different regions are exerting pressure on it. There was never a single moment in his life when he entertained the idea that a daughter might have been spotted in the suburbs of France. He never even considered the possibility until the envelope was delivered, all the way up until that point. It was the Burkinabe embassy in Paris that was the organization that was responsible for bringing it to individuals' attention. Every single delivery was carried out by hand. Your response cannot be sent to the address that is provided. When viewed from the inside, in what specific way is it? The snapshot shows Camille snuggling up to a tiny child and giving them a tender embrace. An investigation of DNA that was obtained from a private laboratory in France and then sent for examination. He remained silent for the entirety of the letter that he was reading. The fact that you do not remember me is something that I deeply regret. In addition to that, there is the possibility that you do. On the other hand, I do not forget to keep you in my thoughts on a regular basis. Additionally, there is the reality that your daughter is one of those individuals. Currently, you are the one who is the owner of her. A woman who is both intelligent and talented. Her wrath is the root of the problem. In her capacity as president, she is not interested in meeting you. Rather, she is concerned with learning more about you. To put that into perspective, as a dude, he finally made his voice heard after what felt like hours had passed. After that, he exited the room, shut the door behind him, turned off his phone, and began crying. He then walked out of the room. His circle of closest friends and members of his family saw a change in him. Moving further away from that was the direction that he went, a more important obstacle to overcome. When he was in the middle of his meetings, he would periodically look out the window. During the time that he was speaking, even the slightest tremor could be heard in his voice. The reality of the issue was not even known to his wife at the time. The entirety of the information was disclosed to her by him. In none of her contacts, Fatimata, the lioness of the palace, shown any symptoms of anger. She was very calm and collected. As far as I could tell, she was completely emotionless. On the other hand, the only thing she could to say after that was, "Then go meet her." But despite this, the situation was quite complicated and difficult to understand. In the event that the existence of Nadia is established, the uncertainty that surrounds her existence has the potential to bring about political instability. It would be interesting to hear the perspectives of the general population. Taking into consideration the fact that their revolutionary had left a child behind in the lands of the West, what are the consequences? Taking into consideration the fact that he had allied himself with the world of the colonial era? Furthermore, Fatimata noticed something else, despite the fact that this was the case. Because the individual in question was a child, it was essential to supply responses. In his capacity as a man, he was worthy of being restored to his fullness. A nation that, as its guiding philosophy, placed a higher value on the truth than it did on perfection. The decision has been made to hold a meeting in private, and it will take place. When it comes to France, this is not the accurate statement. To be absolutely certain, not at all in Burkina Faso. The nation of Senegal, on the other hand, is an area that is neutral. There are no cameras around at this time. No one is watchful over it at this time. There are no titles associated with it. Only two people are present at this location. It is the table that it is. To add insult to injury, a lifetime of complete silence was unheard of. In the beginning, she was the one who entered the room. There is a hoodie in black color. There is a bun at the top of the head, eyes that are capable of flashing a spark of passion. As soon as he caught sight of her, he immediately stood up and walked away. For a brief while, there was total silence. There was no sound whatsoever. Immediately after that, she inquired, "Are you certain that you are aware of my identity?" He signified by nodding his head in agreement. "Yes, this is a fact. I am unable to accept anything back from you since you are everything." This talk lasted for a considerable amount of time between the two of them. In relation to Camille, Nadia's younger years are being examined at this time. Burkina Faso is the subject of this discussion. Betrayal, sadness, exile, and revolution are among topics that are discussed here. Nothing was withheld from her in any manner, shape, or form. She uttered the words, "I could have fought for you," and meant every word of them. In spite of the fact that you fought for an entire continent, you were able to find your own daughter without any difficulty at all. He listened to each and every sentence that was spoken. Next, he conveyed to her all of the information in its entirety, including all of the material. That which is being censored is the issue. An additional consideration is the monitoring, that he felt uncomfortable being watched, and that he favored a state of silence whenever possible. She was concentrating her concentration. Consequently, she shed tears as a result of that. To make matters even worse, he was the very first individual to ever carry out the entire procedure. The two of them were embracing one another at that moment. In neither the capacity of a citizen nor as a leader of the nation would you do so. Nevertheless, in my capacity as a daughter and a father, he presented her with a pendant that he had worn always ever since he was a member of the cadet corps. This was his way of expressing his gratitude to her. She had sent a letter to a parent whom she felt had passed away when she was 9 years old. She believed that the parent had passed away. It was addressed to the parent who had not been seen for some time. She laid it out in front of him as an offer. They then proceeded to take a stroll along the water's edge that evening after that. There are no cameras around at this time. There are no headlines available at this time. There are just two shadows that are going through the process of healing while the moon is in front of them. It is 20 years old that Nadia is at this moment in time. At the moment, she is attending Dakar University in order to earn a degree in political science. The fact that she travels to Ouagadougou is not a secret, but it is also not a spectacle that she embarks on. There are 2 times a year that she travels to the city, and neither of those excursions involves a show. On a consistent basis, the two of them carry on conversations with one another. They do so while being amused. They have a difference of opinion with one another. This creates a relationship. There are some ministries that are aware of the state of affairs. A minority of the populace was filled with apprehension. In spite of this, the truth is not found in the tabloids. Rather, it is found in the periods when quiet is the primary mode of communication. Every single one of Traore's birthdays is commemorated with a different handwritten birthday card that is displayed on his desk. An incoming call is received on a Sunday evening each and every week. Hidden behind a bookcase was a painting of a young girl with eyes that were on fire and a storm in her heart. The portrait depicted the younger girl. In addition to that, there was a portrait of the daughter that was concealed under the bookcase. During a rare interview, Traore reacted to the issue of whether or not he had any regrets about something by smiling and saying that he did not have any regrets about doing something. Whenever there was a person who needed my assistance, I was not present to provide it to them. I was absent. The fact that she was able to locate me, on the other hand, is something for which I am grateful to the existence of the cosmos. It is more accurate to say that she was the lion's prey. This particular person is a daughter of the in question. In spite of the fact that he did not bring her up, she had a huge part in elevating him to his current level of development. In the following, you will find the narrative of the daughter whom he was never able to meet in person. In addition to the individual that she assisted in the process of coming to terms with who he was, she was also with him.